Well, let's meet our panel. His books include The South Was Right and Was Jefferson Davis Right? Donnie Kennedy. Donnie. Hey, Donnie, good to see you back there. There's your new book. Looks a lot like the old one. He's an Emmy-winning actor. His new show is Showtime's Hoop Life. Jay Thomas. Oh, yeah, Jay Thomas.
Hey, man.
My favorite. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. He's the big deal rock singer and Broadway actress. She'll be performing at the Venetian in Las Vegas on New Year's Eve. Sheena Easton. Hey.
Hello.
Welcome back. Thank you for coming. And the website is rapstation.com. The CD is Chuck D Presents Louder Than a Bomb. The man is Chuck D. Chuck, how are you, buddy? Thank you.
Hello again.
Okay. Well, Donnie, I was looking at your books here, and they look a little bit alike here.
Oh, thank you.
Was Jefferson Davis right? The South was right. You're from the South.
You guessed it. You're a good man.
Okay. No, we've talked about this before. I bring this up because I see the emblem there of the Confederate flag. Now, Jesse Helms, we all know Jesse Helms, senator from South Carolina. What? Or North Carolina?
No, we're laughing to ourselves. Keep talking.
Okay.
We're enjoying your performance.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what Jesse's doing, Carol Moseley Braun, a black lady from Illinois, was a senator, now wants to be ambassador to New Zealand. He is blocking that because when she was a senator, she blocked a patent renewal for an emblem for the Daughters of the American Revolution because it contained the Confederate flag.
Of the Confederacy.
And she said that's an insult to a lot of people who are darker than you, Jesse. Okay. So he's blocking her. It reminds me of the fact that the Southerners who impeached Clinton, and it was all Southerners who did that, just got back at him by killing this nuclear test ban treaty. So their plan B was impeach Clinton. If that doesn't work, end the world. Okay. What is it about Southerners where they can't let it go? They're worse than the Serbs. Let it go.
No, absolutely not.
Why? What is it in the character? Because when I go down there, I have such a great time.
And then you got to come back. Then you got to come back for IQ rehab, right? I could come up with the third book saying just hell no. I mean,
yeah. I want to like Southerners because I have such a great time when I go there. Southern hospitality. I love the women.
Well, do you know where I'm from?
That's it.
Do you know where I'm from?
Where?
I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. Even though I play...
Well, you can tell because he talks funny.
I do talk funny.
Oh, you talk just fine, sir.
I talk just fine. But I just came back from Camden, Alabama, where I was hunting and fishing and doing all that stuff. And I'm a Southerner, and I understand it. But I read your books, and I give them, out of 5, 2.5 burning crosses.
Hey, that's nice.
I find them... But you can defend, you know, the reason why the Civil War was fought was for economic reasons, but the headline is slavery, and that was absolutely wrong, and it's an indefensible
you're
position.
right. The headline was slavery. But who wrote the headline? The conquering hero, the Yankee. They wrote the headline. It was not the South that wrote the headline.
I believe the 600,000 black people that were slaves wrote the headline.
Let me tell you something. My family's been in the South for 250 years. And you know what? Unless my wife went down to Walmart and picked her up a couple slaves this afternoon, we've never owned any.
Right.
So why should I feel like I've got to kowtow to those who think that, oh, gee whiz, everything Southern is evil? It is not evil. The South is like any other part.
Maybe your relatives were too broke to own slaves.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what?
I can tell you, it's just a ridiculous idea that we're heading into the millennium talking about whether Jefferson Davis was right. Exactly. I mean, as far as a black man in America, it's not even considered. That was the South right pre-Civil War. Are you crazy? Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely...
Yeah,
it's idiotic.
Where is the Southern hospitality that you just don't have the compassion to see?
To roll over and play dead when we know we're right. And
right about what? What are you right about? What was
the issues of the war was the issues of economic, and it was a culture against culture.
Because slavery allowed an economy to thrive.
Listen.
Because that was cheap labor, and I mean very cheap labor.
You Yankees,
hey, look.
You Yankees made more money.
You Yankees
made more money off the issue of slavery and slave running and made the same dollars
What are you packing?
I'm just saying.
Made the same same money from the slave
Chuck,
growers.
don't do that to me.
I'm just saying, to black folk in America, North, South, it just don't matter. It's like Yankees,
Hey, well, you know
Southerner.
what? He's got a point there.
Listen to
He's got a point there because I've just read an article by a lady that was a slave, and she said that in America, for the black person, it was a two-headed snake. Down south, it was slavery. Up north, it was Yankees they had to put up with. In either case,
Donnie,
they were not
it's
treated
1999. Stop calling me a Yankee.
Are you a Southerner?
We're in California. No, but like, it's a thing. Can't you get over? It's 1999 now. There are no Yankees.
Oh, yes, there are, sir. There are plenty of them.
Now, Donnie, let me ask you a question. If I took you out of here against your will tonight, I made you come to my house, and if you didn't clean and do the stuff I wanted to, I'd beat your ass.
That sounds like my last marriage.
Let me ask you a question. And wait a minute. In fact, I sold you to my man right here, right? And he sleeps with your wife when he wants to, and he does whatever he wants to your family and then sells him off. You're going to tell me you're going to still be writing this book now? I doubt
wait
it,
a minute.
seriously.
Are you telling me about how blacks were treated up north? That's exactly up north because that's exactly what happened. The problem here is when you talk about slavery, everybody wants to look at the South and say everything evil in the world resides in the South when it comes to this issue of slavery. There's plenty for us to apologize for. Black people owned slaves. I can take you to Natchez, Mississippi, and show you a free man of color. His house in the middle of Natchez, Mississippi. He owned slaves.
It
he
seems
sold
like
slaves.
that's the exception.
It was the exception for white people to own slaves.
Yes, and
He
was
must have went on a
It was
wild hunt to find this
No,
person.
sir.
Yeah.
Come to Louisiana. Come to Louisiana.
I'm pretty sure that person's not waving a banner like I own slaves. I mean,
How many black people owned slaves before the Civil War?
Before the Civil War, in South Carolina, it was the highest state, and I think it was something like 4,000 in South Carolina. There's 3,000 in Louisiana, 2,000 or 3,000 in Mississippi.
There are also...
But wait a minute. Who sold those slaves to those Europeans in Africa? Hey, it was Africa.
That's a different story. You're right about that.
That's the point That's the point I'm trying to make. Slavery is not a Southern issue. It's not a white issue. It's not a black issue. It's a people issue.
All right. Well, I got a commercial
don't
issue
crash
that we're
the
going to do
Politically
right now.
incorrect.
Join us tomorrow when our guests will be Sharon Lawrence, David Brenner, Gloria Allred, and Charlotte citizen Stephanie Ann Allen.
Okay, we're talking about the South. One of the big issues on there always has been voting, but let's broaden that a little bit because now there is a move to register the mentally ill. Now, people who watch this show know I am a big anti-voter. I'm not saying people shouldn't vote. I'm just saying it's a privilege, and they treat it like a right, and they kind of crap all over it. Listen to this. There's 5.6 million seriously mentally ill people in this country. Now, of course, the politicians...
Is that the ones in Congress?
I get it. The politicians see this as a voting block, and of course they want to take advantage of this. There's this Mental Health Voter Empowerment Association wants to, drive them to the voting booths and get the mentally ill to vote.
Except the agoraphobics, right?
The agoraphobics would be the ones who don't want to go out. Is that the opposite of claustrophobia?
Yeah.
Well, Bill, I guess the mentally ill vote, I guess Pat Buchanan would get matching funds at that point.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. What constitutes being too mentally ill to vote? Now, I just have to
This
say...
guy right here.
Well, there you go. I am a citizen. Okay.
How long have you been a citizen?
Since I helped vote to put President Clinton in the first time. So, and the reason why...
You got one acclamation over there.
That's okay. And
So it was like a political favor to make you a citizen?
Well, I would just see if I could, get his phone number, but...
I see. All right.
No, I became a citizen because I've been living in this country since 1980, been very politically active, but I had a green card but couldn't vote. Anyway, so I'm now a voter, but I also take Prozac. So does that mean that I shouldn't be allowed to vote on the days that I'm feeling depressed?
Well, I'm not going to tell you can't.
Hey! Don't knock it! But see what I mean? See how
Well, I mean, if you think of the mentally ill voting in the Reform Party, apparently they can also run for office. I mean, those guys are pretty nuts. I mean, so are you on Prozac like right now?
Sure. Well,
It's just about to kick in.
It's just about to kick in.
well, you got to be on it every day when you're on it, right? I mean, you can't skip a dose.
Well, nothing terrible happens. I don't like maraud in McDonald's or something and threaten people.
But if you're on Prozac, would you say vote for? Would you vote for, let's say, Donald Trump for president? And if you're off Prozac and you're thinking normally, you would vote for some other valid candidate. I mean, how does the?
Wait a second.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Prozac.
I took Prozac the day that I eloped to Vegas to marry the last husband, and I wasn't thinking normally. Prozac doesn't make you think normally.
No.
It's just...
Prozac
No, it doesn't. That's what I said.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Don't argue
Prozac...
with somebody on Prozac.
I'm asking. But I was going to defend you and say, because you said when you're thinking normally, but I thought Prozac brought you up to where you are normal. That really is just a chemical...
It brings you up to where you think you're normal.
No, well,
But you're still completely screwed up.
Well, but
you just think you're normal.
But I'm screwed up whether I took Prozac or not. I mean,
I can't believe that I didn't marry you once. How did I miss you?
See, the thing is, the thing that kills me about this country, and I'm proud to be a citizen and I love living here, but I've really noticed that there's a stigma. You know, you go to the drugstore and you say, I'll have my my antibiotics, my Viagra, and my Prozac needs refilled. You know, it's like,
But even...
What's the big problem?
But even more, what about the hypocrisy of demonizing these illicit mood-altering substances while protecting and profiting from ones like Prozac and alcohol and cigarettes? I mean, this country, you know, this...
So does that mean that then that if you've had a glass of wine, you shouldn't be allowed to vote, or where do we draw the line? I mean, how mentally ill is mentally ill? Is people that are depressed can't vote, or
if it's Thunderbird, you shouldn't be allowed to vote. I think.
And Bill, we already have
the type of wine you drink.
We already have some form of voter qualifications. You have to be alive to vote, except for in Louisiana, dead people vote there.
That's right.
But you've been there.
Sir, I know that.
But we need some type of voter qualification. I mean, are you going?
From you with
are
these
you
books?
are you going to allow? Well, first thing you got to read
agree.
right, so you won't have to worry about those books.
Oh.
Now, so anyway, what you need is some form.
Don't make him put his hand in his pocket again.
Baseline voter qualification is not non-arbitrary voter qualification would not hurt a thing, but
Obviously,
you cannot
it doesn't matter
have a
or not.
you know, if you're crazy, you know, how are you going to vote for somebody for president? You going to vote for a crazy man?
Are you trying to tell me that I mean, we all have our moments when we're less than what you would consider sane, obviously.
Obviously.
Let's leave voting out of his mouth.
What? I
please.
don't think there's a definition of mental illness in this group here
Well,
that you can really put your finger on.
I know. I'm just crazy to get away to a commercial. We'll be right back. We were talking about a lot of stuff we got onto, but basically voting and who should be allowed to vote. And it is a very interesting point you bring up.
Yeah, but you question my reading and writing skills, and you're wondering why I'm coming out of my pocket.
And you question my writing skills, so, you know.
Well, I just wondered how you came up with so many
brother.
pages on, you know.
I'm sorry. I'll make
wondered
a
if it was still
smaller one
right.
for you next time.
My theory is that this is the same book with different
Don't
covers.
tell everybody. Not
come
on the
on,
air, Bill.
Johnny, come on. It's the same.
He's selling 1 million books tonight, I'm telling you.
But actually, I think I was
Appreciate
going to
it.
be on your side with this one, because I don't think everybody should vote. I think it's a privilege. I think people abuse it. I'm against that rock the vote, which is, you know, get any warm body into the voting booth, no matter how stupid they are. You learned everything you need to know from Kurt Loder.
Our only problem
Get in the voting booth.
Our only problem is, let's be sure if we have qualification, they're non-arbitrary, because the gentleman is right. You can write voting regulation where you write a whole segment of people out of the voting booth, and that's
As the South did for most of its history.
The North did it long before the South did, so don't give me that right. Now,
Yeah,
listen,
no.
but what we going back, let's don't go back there. We want non-arbitrary, so that
We always
regardless...
had a saying, anything south of the Canadian border is south.
Yeah, there you go.
That's true. You're right. The North you're right, just as bad in a different way.
Well,
Dick Craig-
exactly right. And that went back to my original statement. We all have enough, regardless what section of the country, what color we are, to apologize for. But let's don't waste our time apologizing. Let's make constructive steps toward the future. And what you're talking about here with these
Constructive
voters.
steps toward the future. Your book is called "Was Jefferson Davis Was Right."
And that's
What is that a constructive?
Now,
How is that a constructive?
Are you suggesting just because I'm proud of my Southern heritage that I am
I
not...
wasn't going to do this
Man,
to you,
I
but
gotta tell you.
What?
Here.
About slavery?
No, sir. The South
can
was
look
not
'em up.
about slavery.
I
Did
can
I
look 'em
not
up with
tell
the
you at
description.
250 years my family never owned a slave?
I
Now,
know.
why do
I know.
family
It was
want it?
broke. I already told you that.
85%.
It had slaves like that.
85%
Okay,
of Southerners.
listen,
And
I
no
wasn't-
others
I
owned
have a-
Pissed
slaves.
off you didn't have slaves.
I have a
apparently.
quote from Jefferson Davis.
Jeez.
You cannot transform the Negro, into anything 1/10 as useful or good as what slavery enables them to be.
All right, let me quote you from
So
Abraham.
he was
Let me
right?
quote you from Abraham Lincoln, because he said,
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln. He was not a Southerner, by
I
the way.
freed the what?
Yeah.
I know.
All right, Abraham Lincoln said that he was not in favor of making voters, citizens, or any other white.
That's a little different than you
No, sir,
cannot
now listen,
transform the
listen,
Negro.
here's the problem. When it comes to Southerners, you want to say, oh, all that 19th century stuff is rotten. But when it comes to Abraham Lincoln, well, he really didn't mean that. So there's two
you can't
standards.
compare.
There's two standards in America, one for Southerners and one for Northerners. And you wonder why I get
Because
upset?
although the Northern crimes were egregious in terms of race, they were not as egregious, and we must recognize those gradations.
So we kill them, but not quite as deadly. Yeah, I don't understand that.
The point is what he's even saying, and there is some truth in what he's saying. That the fact that we've always thought as a people that the northern side of racism, was, in many ways a lot more harmful than the southern. When in the South they say, well, I just don't like you. And we say,
Right.
fine. Up north, I don't want to live around you. I don't want to work with you. And you stay over there and we'll take all your money, and it'll be a different type of slavery. So those mentalities were similar, but you got to look at it from an outside point of view.
Yeah.
One thing we got to remember here, this is 1999. I live in an integrated community. I go to an integrated church. My children have gone to integrated schools. I mean, what are we talking about?
Haven't you
You're the
noticed?
21st century man.
Yeah, I mean, but you're acting like every Southerner is a racist and a bigot and can't stand black folks. That is not the case.
I'm not. Just the ones who write books like this. Okay, I have to take a commercial. We'll be right back. I'm sorry.
Tracks and today's smooth hits. Smooth 101.1 Memphis. We feel ya.
You're planning to be in the Los Angeles area and would like free tickets to Politically Incorrect, call 323-575-4321.
All right, this is Johnny's book, your CD. They're actually fighting. The blood props are fighting amongst themselves. They want to kill each other. Tomorrow, Sharon Lawrence, David Brenner, Gloria Allred, and our citizen Charlotte, from Charlotte.